Howdy, people. We need to figure out a name for you guys. Anyway, I am Wes,
And I'm Jan.
and today we watched.
Bro, I already said this. It's not.
I can do what I want.
Whatever. Anyways, for gut reaction today, that is what we're calling it.
Gut shot.
Gut shot.
Gut
punch.
shot.
We'll figure out the exact term at some point. Instead of doing like a rating review, we're gonna do like a mostly positive, mostly negative, like kind of in the middle, I guess is an option. I'm mostly negative. I was not enjoying the film. There was a lot of points that I was bored in. Not gonna lie.
I thought I was pretty positive with it. I'm going to say I really did like it.
His nickname is Superboy. He's a little biased.
I am, and I can be what I want to be. Dang it, I can be Superman. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about.
No, yeah. So we saw it in IMAX, which obviously more optimal. I don't know if the film was like properly optimized or like filmed for it.
It was,
but it did look pretty nice. And you mentioned at the end that they had like two different cameras doing it, which I'm assuming makes it better. I don't know as much about that kind of technical stuff as you do, but yeah. I think the main thought that I just kept having throughout the film was this feels like a long pilot for a TV show. And
interesting.
It felt like the kind of pilot where they're kind of just making something as a proof of concept and they don't have very much budget. I think the budget suffered mostly in the dialogue and script, which I know you mentioned on the way out. We're saying a lot of people have been hating on the script. I have not looked up anything about the film. This literally is my very first time knowing like anything about it other than the trailers. I like Millie Alcock. I think she's a good actress. I enjoyed watching her perform in House of the Dragon, but like I don't know. I don't know, man.
So when I personally watch movies, there's not really movies that I don't dislike. If I dislike a movie, it has to be pretty dang bad for me to not like it, or it really doesn't like grab me, right?
Yeah.
So as I was watching the movie, I was kind of watching for moments in the script or like looking for a negative, which I don't like. I went into it with the wrong mind space because I had seen people online talk hate about it, and I was influenced by that. But I didn't see any necessary problems with the script. There were some moments where I was like, sure, okay, that could have been different. Or maybe this little bit of swearing felt forced. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I need to spend more time and like write down my thoughts, but we can delve into that in the longer form for sure. Mm-hmm. What was the main things that you were thinking as the film like was going through and wrapping up? Like I said, my one consistent was this feels like the pilot of an episode or the pilot of a TV show. There was also some stuff that just felt like a little bit rushed, which I think kind of helped play into that mentality. But did you have something like that? They're just kind of like one track mind.
I think.
Or was your Superboy brain just like, I love this, I'm having fun, I get to watch a sexy lady play Supergirl?
I have a girlfriend, so I can't I can't say anything about that.
I forgot about this.
So
my bad.
No, you're good.
Maddie, help.
But as I was I typically just like to soak in like what I'm watching. Like I don't have a running thought, I don't think.
Sure.
So I was just watching it. I was watching it as it was. And I had a really good point that I wanted to. I liked the stuff about Krypton. I really liked that they doubled down because when the first Superman came out, there were a lot of people critiquing like that Superman's parents were like sent him out to be a god basically.
Yeah.
And they doubled down on that with some hints of dialogue, and I actually really respect that because that's showing that James Gunn wanted, like, that was an intentional choice and he's sticking to it.
Mm-hmm.
And how
I think it's a good choice, by the way. Like I do think I'm interested to see where he goes with that. I'm excited to see that. Sorry, continue.
And just how Millie's parents, or no, not Millie,
Kara.
I'm bad at this. Kara's parents were trying to tell her, "Hey, be good. Don't be like your cousin who's trying to be a god." You know,
Yeah.
they didn't know that, but they, hey, be good. And in some ways, the character's kind of inverted because Superman
Yeah.
was this like white knight in shining armor, and Supergirl is kind of like the, it's not really my problem
Yeah.
type person.
Yeah. I'll definitely be interested to delve into that more in the long form as well, because I think that there's some potentially really good and rewarding directions that the story and the character arcs for both of them and their dynamic can go in future um, releases, cinema, TV, whatever it is, because we're used to the Supergirl was there before Superman. At least that's what I'm used to from a lot of the media that I have consumed, whereas like she got there before him, and so she's a little bit older when he gets there as a baby, basically. That's how it was, I think, for Man of Steel. That's how it is, I think, in the Injustice games, if I remember correctly. She's more like the older cousin, but she got like adrift, if that makes sense, in some of them, where it's like she's sent when she's older, but she arrives after he has like grown up also. So it's like this weird dynamic. Anyways, it did feel more like he was kind of the stable cousin and she is the wild one, which I think was intentional. I'm
Mhm.
not sure if I personally liked that, like preference wise, but I could understand what they were trying to do, if that makes sense.
Mhm. One of the big things that I was thinking about on the way home is soundtracks, because when James Gunn cooks, he makes a great soundtrack, right? I think the golden standard for him is probably Guardians of the Galaxy. Like that
Yeah,
first soundtrack is quite iconic,
yeah.
and I was a big fan of Superman's soundtrack when that first came out,
Very
and
iconic.
very
Like
iconic.
they reused the original theme, but they played on it and motifed on it and like arranged it and enough differently, like differently enough that it was a lot of fun for that.
Hmm.
I did feel like it was lacking though for this movie.
I didn't. I was gonna say it didn't feel too problematic. I feel like there were some choices that kind of were meh, but I thought there was some good stuff. Just it didn't feel like it could have been better.
It felt like a lot of loud to me. Like that was kind of what I came away with the score. I didn't feel like there was a strong, obvious like main theme for Supergirl,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which I was disappointed by. Even if it was something that was like, even if they had gone like Guardian style, where it's a specific old song that becomes like her theme, it didn't feel like there was a single piece throughout the film that got played off a couple times, which in my opinion is usually one of the heralds of a really good score, is when the composer makes a good theme and then uses it a bunch of different times. We've seen that in How to Train Your Dragon. I mean, you see that um in the Superman films as well. You see that in like Lord of the Rings. There's multiple different themes that are used different ways. That kind of stuff. It makes it feel more synonymous, and it can, especially in How to Train Your Dragon, which is a big one for that. It can give it that kind of depth and different emotions from the same thing that makes you be like, oh, this is Superman, but this is a sad moment right now, or this is Superman and this is a happy moment right now, and we didn't have that for Supergirl, which was sad. Crypto is so annoying.
See, I'm sad that it's not an actual dog and that it's just a CG dog. I think that's the that's the frustrating thing. Um, and I was a little disappointed that they went down the like if you hurt a dog, it's a very easy way to get people like invested, like, oh, get the person who hates the dog
Yeah.
or hit the dog,
John
right?
Wick much?
John, exactly. Like John Wick perfected that form, and now every movie wants to copy it. And I mean, it works, but we've seen it a bunch of times where like you hurt the person, like the person's animal or something, and okay.
I did like the villain. I just wish we got to see more of him and had felt more dread. Like, I think I don't want to do too many spoilers. I was not pleased with the way that they left some things at the end of the film, though. And I don't think that the way that they decided to end it for the villain in the film was the right move. Because it's just going to be very different seeing how he reappears later, basically. Um, and I think my main other thoughts feel like Jason Momoa as Lobo kind of stole the show every time he was on screen. And so usually for me, that's a mark of something is not right with the rest of it. If a strong side character played by a known actor is that's what people are seeing it for. Like I want to see the movie for Supergirl. If I wanted to see the movie for Lobo, I want to go see a Lobo movie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, you have to introduce a character
true.
into a series, right?
This is true, but like a good correlation, in my opinion, is Guy Gardner from the new Superman film, 2025. He didn't really steal the show, I think, that much. He was in like maybe one or two scenes where he like really stole the show. There's one iconic one where he's making all the fingers with his Green Lantern energy. But he was very much a side character, whereas Lobo became much more central, and they kind of teased like he could have almost replaced Supergirl in some ways for the story of the other main character. And so that was just a little bit frustrating to me. Like I was like, I want to see Supergirl's story. And I get that he can have an impact on it, but I felt like it was becoming more this other person's story, and Lobo was more important to this other person's story in some ways.
Oh, okay.
Or at the very least, I think you could grant that he was a little bit of like a MacGuffin or a Deus Ex Machina for some points, which just was like, that's lazy writing in my opinion.
Like he was just there to be there.
He was there for the purpose of they were like, oh, we need a solution. Oh, I've got it. We can throw Lobo in here, basically, and that was the solution. Like that. There, specifically when what was the other Ruthie when she's escaping that cage later in the movie, it was like.
I guess he did just show
not
up.
even stated that the thing that they were doing was his idea, but then he was like, I knew my plan would work, and it was just like, okay. She could have come up with that on her own. Like, she's been teased as very capable. I don't know. We'll talk about it more for sure. Do you have any other thoughts? I have some other thoughts, but I don't want to.
No. No, overall, I thought it was a solid entry in the DC lineup. I mean, in my opinion, Superman was better. I think this is so far like the lowest ranked thing, but also like this is only the second movie to come out in James Gunn's universe. Next up we'll have Man of Tomorrow, which will come out next summer, which I'm really excited for.
Definitely gonna see that one a few times.
There's been some leaked footage online about some of the fight moments.
You gotta avoid that, my guy. Okay. Anyways, though, as regards Supergirl, I'm excited to talk about it more in long form. There's a couple of other things that I'll just say kind of like briefly, like footnote, essentially, kind of like tease. I wish that there was more time for the film. I think that the film was pretty short. I mean, it was 147 total runtime, so it was like 130-ish for total like action time. There wasn't like a bunch of opening title cards. It did just like start, which was nice, and that was very James Gunn. I think one of the other things that I felt frustrated by and just like unsatisfied by the end of the film was it felt like the artistic like voice from the director was trying to emulate James Gunn in that like golden style Guardians of the Galaxy vibes, where it's like kind of the colorful, flashy flair. Which I understand at some degree it is James Gunn DC, so he is trying to have a single tone. So I get that, and I'm here for that. Like I love that actually. I'm super excited for the more comic booky, fun aesthetic instead of the super gritty. Because we've done super gritty and it works, but I'm ready to try something new. But the way that it was expressed, there were some moments where I was like, okay, this is just filling, like checking the box of, okay, it's James Gunn's DC, rather than the director was like, I want to do this. I don't know. There was like a couple of the fight sequences where there was just like a lot of slow motion stuff that kept happening, and I was like, this feels like the director got told, hey, you need to do fight scenes this way, rather than the director was like, I want to do them. Like they didn't serve. When there's a good slow motion during action, it generally, in my opinion, will serve the purpose of allowing you to soak in the moment of whatever action is happening right there. But a lot of the slow motion was just like, it's a cool shot, so let's slow it down, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I do think a positive thing, the sequence where Ruthie is being surrounded by all the brigands and like all the dust is coming up, That looked awesome. I really liked that. We got to wrap up here, but just a couple last thoughts. That looked awesome. I was actually really hoping that was going to turn into she's going to take them down herself, and it's going to be like the origin of a badass swordsman. But then we got Supergirl Deus Ex Machina, which is fine. Supergirl film, right? So like that was a little bit again playing into the confusion for me, where it's like, is this Supergirl's film or is it this other character's film? Like who's the main character of the movie, I guess? It felt a little bit more like they were using Supergirl as an engine to tell this other story, and it was really this other person's story. Would you agree with that to some degree, maybe?
We'll let you know, or I'll let you know in the long form video that we do.
Fair enough.
So that's all the time we have for today, and we will see you guys in a long form review hopefully next week.
Hopefully soon.